Hey, it is Friday. Welcome into your go-to show for sports here on the Shore, Delmarva Sports Insider. I'm Anthony Joseph.
And I'm Chris Brunk. Thank you for joining us, Anthony. We've got a lot to get into.
We always do. I always say it's jam-packed. Let's go over what we have in store for you tonight. The Salisbury University swim team had a historic season. Hear from the head coach who has built both men's and women's swimming into winning programs. Plus, find out how James and Bennett baseball is staying warm with outdoor activities canceled today.
And we'll be sitting down with the son of racing legend Mark Williams. But, Anthony, we start with UD softball, who's having a really solid season so far.
They certainly are. They like to hit the long ball. The Lady Blue Hens have been really impressive this year. The UD softball team is 24-13 on the year. At home, the Lady Blue Hens are 12-3. On the road, they're 8-7. They picked up 2 road victories this week when they defeated DSU 11-0 and 2-0. One of the key playmakers this season has been Morgan Hess. Hess has been a clutch hitter in key situations as she has had some big hits, of course, this week against DSU. On the season, she has 7 home runs, 34 hits, and produced 28 runs. She's batting .333. Her teammate, also impressive, Sydney Schaefer. She's been hitting .385, 13 home runs, and racked up 42 hits. Hess and Schaefer talks about the expectations for this year.
I mean, I expect us to win a CAA championship. That's the goal here, and that's what we want out of this. So I'm really hoping that we end up doing that, and we're chasing that championship. We're not going to be satisfied until we get it.
We've been working hard this season, and going into April, we know we have the team to do it, and all 3 parts of the game going, so we're ready for the championship.
And we had some big news for Parkside Athletics recently as the Rams have announced Grace Rail as the new head coach for their girls volleyball program. A 2024 graduate of Salisbury University, Rail spent 4 years on the Seagulls volleyball team. She brought in some impressive accolades over her career, including a coast-to-coast Conference Defensive Player of the Year award, a couple first-team all-conference nods, and a C2C Tournament MVP. A new era for Parkside volleyball under the direction of someone who's been in the area for a few years now, Grace Rail.
Now, the former Sussex Central softball player Maya Jones is having a remarkable year for Division II Bridgeport College. She is crushing the ball. The junior's batting .452, 42 hits. Jones is leading the team in RBIs with 36. On this season, she's only struck out 3 times. She has played in all 30 games this year. Her team has been winning. They are 21-9. They're riding a 4-game winning streak. Jones also credits her former head coach, John Wells, for some of the success she's having. Jones mentions that she learned a lot from him and that influences her style of play.
Like a lot of things that he said to me, when I was playing with him, I still say today, at practice, he always said defense wins championships. I always say that. Or zone 1, you asked me about hitting, I look for something in the zone 1. So that's early in the count, right down the middle, he always said that, zone 1. We're attacking in the white. That was our color, our pant color white.
Speaking of Sussex Central, the Knights basketball player David Maker has decided where he'll be playing college basketball. He will be taking his talents to Cecil College in Northeast Maryland, up there in Cecil County. Maker had a really good season as a senior. He made the Blue Gold All-Star game that took place at Smyrna, and he scored his 1,000th career point when the Knights played the Dover Senators. Maker was also named Honorable Mention All-State. Good for you, David.
He just makes it. The Salisbury University baseball team has been on quite a roll recently. SU hosting the Virginia Wesleyan Marlins. A great defensive play. Of course, a lot of good talent on the squad. Starting pitcher Aiden Brinsfield bare hands the bouncer for the out. He gave up 2 runs in the first inning, but the Seagulls would answer in the bottom of the 4th. They have so much offense. Max Earhart lifts one to left center, way back, and it's gone. A 3-run shot out to the parking lot. Part of 5 runs scored in that inning for the Seagulls. Now in the bottom of the 5th, Noah Burrows, the former Sussex Central, skies it to left, and he carries it out of the park. It is out of here. Burrows finishes the day 2 for 3, 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. The Seagulls take down the Marlins 13-2. Here is Burrows on his big day at the plate, and SU, now they have that winning streak that keeps on.
Just trying to hunt fastball, you know. Got into some deep counts, but they're just hanging me good pitches, so I just took advantage of them. I think we're all just very resilient, you know. We get knocked down, we come back even harder. So everybody on the team's really locked in. I think we're going to do something special.
Stay updated while we're at these games in real time.
Make sure to follow WMDT Sports on Facebook and X right now. Well, Seagull swim coach Nate Parsley, Anthony, has built the boys and the girls swim teams into winners. It's been a long road. In his first year, he only had 7 men's, 14 women's swimmers. This season, now in year 4, Parsley had 32 and 32 for each full rosters. The SU swim team achieved a lot this year. Salisbury earned its first ever national ranking from the College Swimming and Diving Coaches Association of America. They went a perfect 7-0 in dual meets. It was the first undefeated women's season in program history, and they won the program's first ever championship in any conference, dethroning a 3-decade multi-league Mary Washington dynasty to capture the NJAC crown. Here's Coach Parsley talking about their amazing season.
It was, it was groundbreaking. It was the first time that a swimmer in 24 years had gotten to that meet and been able to perform at that level. So, you know, being on deck with some of the best swimmers in the country and getting to compete with the best was, you know, what we had set out to do early on in the season. And so seeing all that hard work pay off really was awesome. And being able to bring back our first 2-time Women's All-American was special.
With the heavy rains, most teams called off practice. But James M. Bennett is not like most baseball teams. Bennett has practice as the East Coast Titan facility in Salisbury this afternoon because in their eyes they can't waste a single day in preparing for the season, with head coach Chad Winnington keeping his eye on Decatur, Parkside, and Mardella. He believes the team is getting in swing as they're throwing, they're pitching before they have a lot of big games coming up. He believes strongly in pitching, and that's why he thinks they can be very successful this season. He describes how practice is going, and they have a big showdown coming up against Parkside on Tuesday.
It helps because we have the ability to come here when, you know, there's bad weather. So instead of taking the day off, or in this case this weekend a few days off, we're able to come in here, still get in some swings, get in our bullpens, and hopefully get in all the work we need to prepare for a tough game with Parkside. We've won every other game. We won a tough game against Delmarva. So I'm pretty satisfied with the start of our season. We'll find out Tuesday as we face Parkside again where we've come in the last couple weeks.
That should be a great game. They lost 1-0, and that practicing indoors should help them. We're calling our first time out, but when we return, I'll be sitting down with race fan Mark Williams Jr., and we're going to go racing as we talk about Georgetown Speedway.
We've got that and more when Delmarva Sports Insider returns.
Hi, I'm Cleo Hill Jr., head men's basketball coach of UMES. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
Welcome back to Delmarva Sports Insider. I'm Sports Director Anthony Joseph. My special guest, Mark Williams Jr. He loves sports, loves racing, and they kicked off the season, Mark, with the Mark Coop Memorial to honor your late father. Talk about this special race.
Racing was all he talked about. We got to see his yearbook at the funeral. We were reading through it, and his dream was to work in a garage and drive a race car. So he lived his dream, and Georgetown kind of carries that torch now that he's gone.
You know, how great is it that they do that every year?
It's awesome because the racetrack's just different now. You know, I was at the track with him, so it's different now. But it does give me a chance to take my kids to go see it and introduce them to it a little bit, as they start to get older and see what they like as well.
You know, they had a lot of good racing. What sticks out, it was really the season opener for Georgetown Speedway. What kind of was sticking out or really impressed you in that race?
I tell you what, Rick Eckert back in his old car, he got out front, took the lead, drove away with the thing. But overall, a little bit of change in promoters this year, and seeing the amount of cars and the crowd that Georgetown had was awesome.
What do you like about Georgetown Speedway?
The atmosphere, you know, it's got so much history to it, and it dates back so long ago, you know, just reminiscing on old times.
So, you know, they have a big race coming up April the 25th. It's the Melvin L. Joseph Memorial. What are your thoughts on that?
It's going to be another good one. It's another big payday. Georgetown seems to have some pretty big paydays, and that usually brings the big names out.
You know, they bring a lot of them. And last year you had Dover International Speedway. It was at the same, you know, race weekend, and you had Kyle Busch, you had Kyle Larson, and all the NASCAR drivers. It's going to be a little bit different because, you know, Dover now is racing in July.
Yeah, just with the one race at Dover now that they brought Nashville back, kind of messes that up a little bit. But that, you know, the names in that race are big time alone, but having those guys, you know, you can't beat it.
What are you looking forward to the most?
Hopefully one of those guys happens to be around. I don't think so, but maybe Stuart Friesen or somebody like that will get a chance to stop by the track.
And so a lot of good racing, a lot of good racers. Who are some of your favorites?
Well, Ross Robinson, Amanda Robinson. Ross is my cousin. Spent a little bit of time on the road with him for a while. But like I said, like watching Rick Eckert, Brandon Overton. Always love Scott Bloomquist. He's gone now, but always a legend.
And so, of course, you have the NASCAR. Do you have a favorite one? Maybe, do you have one?
NASCAR?
Yes.
Chase Elliott. I was a Jeff Gordon fan for as long as I could remember, and he retired, and Chase was just the next guy.
I think with Chase Elliott, though, sometimes he'll have the speed, but he goes into the pits, he doesn't come out where he's been leading. So if he's number one, he might be 6th or 7th because it really goes back to that pit crew.
Absolutely. And consistency is key, and that's something he's able to do. Everybody talks about Kyle Larson, but if you look at it, Larson's either winning races or finishing in the back. So he's just got to give himself a chance come the last race of the year.
I think it really goes to teamwork.
Yeah.
And Kyle Larson has a great team. They're working together, and we'll have to see what Chase does. But also, we do want to talk Little League. Little League starting up. And what are your thoughts, expectations on that?
Got to get out there tomorrow. Daughter's got a Little League game at 11. She's super fired up. I've got Pop Warner sign-ups tomorrow, too. We're already looking forward to the fall. So it's going to be a long day, but it's going to be great for the Georgetown community.
And so you have racing, you have baseball. What's better?
Racing. Racing's always better.
Probably why? Because they can go so fast.
Yeah,
right.
And I can sit back.
They don't get a speeding ticket either.
Yeah. And I can sit back. I don't have to do as much. You know, whenever your kids are involved, you're always extra in tune to it.
And so I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
And also, you like football because you have Pop Warner.
Yep, got Pop Warner. I'm the president for Sussex Central Pop Warner. I'm the head coach of Sussex Central Pee Wee Wrestling for the little kids too. So always trying to give back to the community however I can.
I tell you what, you stay very, very busy. You're involved in the community. And it's great to be able to focus and really go over through all these different sports.
Yeah, I was happy I could get here for 4.5 minutes.
Anything else people need to know about kind of what you're doing or any fundraisers coming up?
So I'm also the president of Capstone Community Foundation. I work for Capstone Homes, as you know, and we've got a nonprofit. We've got some golf tournaments coming up to help football teams, wrestling teams, but we help more than just that. You know, we've helped Cape Baseball. We've done the Bags, Boobs, and Booze at Stokely Tavern. So we just try to raise some money and give it back to the community the best we can.
Well, any golf tournaments coming up, it can go in the new sports community calendar, which makes its debut today.
Perfect. Awesome. We'll get it in there.
Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yep. Thanks, Anthony.
Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, coming up, Wicomico County Council leaders tell us what they thought about yesterday's State of the County address. Plus, a Harrington man is facing felony charges following a drug investigation. We'll have those stories and more coming up after the break.
I'm Dylan Grice from Indiana High School. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
Welcome back, everyone. Yesterday's Wicomico State of the County took over council chambers. WMDT's Blake Lipton spoke with the county council president to get his thoughts on the speech.
County leaders gathered together Thursday for the Wicomico State of the County address. Wicomico County Council President John T. Cannon says he wasn't surprised to learn that the county is in great shape thanks to its responsible departments and fellow employees. However, Cannon says he's interested to see the county budget for this coming year to get a better idea of where the county is. Big issues Cannon feels are pertinent to deal with include education and the volunteer fire companies.
I'd say the biggest issue right now is dealing with the Board of Education and their increased requests for funding, because they have quite a bit of more obligations that have been thrust upon them by the state. And not only that, but even more so, I believe that we have to really begin to pay very close attention to our volunteer fire companies and how we want to continue to thrive as a volunteer organization in Wicomico County to serve the needs that are out there.
Cannon says the Board of Education is increasingly asking for more funding, but he realizes they are becoming burdened by a lot of additional requirements.
I have a lot of respect for Superintendent Stauffer, and I do recognize the fact that they're going to be encumbered by quite a few more obligations than they have in the past. I know that the number of enrolled students is increasing continually, and they do, of course, have to have some type of additional funding to address that.
Cannon says the county has in the past given above maintenance of effort, but this year the Board of Education is asking for a very large amount of funds. He says again he needs to look at the budget to see how much the council can help the Board of Education out.
Again, that was WMDT's Blake Lipton, and Cannon says he will get a better look at the budget on Tuesday of next week. Meanwhile, Delaware State Police are asking for the public's help in finding a wanted suspect. Investigators are looking for 21-year-old Nijai Harris. She's wanted for felony gun and assault charges stemming from an incident last month in Dover. Police say that she's known to frequent Seaford and Laurel and that attempts to contact or locate her have been unsuccessful. Anyone with information on her whereabouts is asked to contact police at 302-698-8503. And a Harrington man is facing felony charges following a drug investigation. Tuesday, Kent County Police and Delaware State troopers searched a home on Kings Court. Police say that the search warrant was part of their investigation against 54-year-old James Shelton. And inside of the home, police say they found 41 grams of cocaine, 28 grams of crack cocaine, and oxycodone pills. They also say they found 3 loaded guns and over $7,000 in cash. Shelton and a 35-year-old Harrington woman were arrested. Shelton was later released after posting bond. Now let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rich Wardzik. So Rich, are we going to be able to shake this wet weather for the weekend? I feel like it's never going to go away.
It does have that kind of Groundhog Day feel to it, Han. I'm with you on that. And this scene in Rehoboth Beach has looked just like this since this afternoon. The camera taking on some pretty good rain there, and the flags have been whipping around here. That east wind coming in off the water. It has been a raw evening with some heavy rain. Morse Roofing and Siding Skycam. I will say this, to answer the question, are we going to stay with this for the whole weekend? No. The heavy rain we're going to be done with here for tonight. So lingering showers will be left over late tonight. Light showers for the first half of tomorrow. Mist, drizzle. That's going to be kind of the leftovers that we go into early Sunday morning. But Sunday itself will have even more improvements. Not only are we going to be drying out, could get to a little bit of late day sun. Not want to promise too much of that, but I do think that Sunday looks a lot better, literally, than what the start of the weekend will be. Man, our rain totals, they keep adding up here. This is as of 11 p.m., so we still have some time to go here. St. Michael's close to 2 inches, over 1 3/4 inches in Lewis. Fruitland about 1 3/4 inches, 1.5 inches. Seaford, Easton, over 1 inch in places like Cambridge, Rehoboth Beach, and Felton. Bob in Smyrna says they're approaching 1.5 inches. Still raining hard, he says. Chucky and Lewis calling in right now at 46 degrees, but it really feels like the upper 30s of that consistent wind. Elsewhere, 45 in Salisbury. Cambridge, the same temperature. Out of Princess Anne at 45, and Wallops now at 48. And the storm causing all this is actually just to our south, but the upper level part of the storm, that's what that black dashed line is, that's stalling out. They're kind of becoming separated at the moment. So the core of the system will move off the coast, and that'll kind of put an end to the funneling of the heaviest rain. But as long as that upper level feature stays near us here tonight into early tomorrow, that chance for a shower will still be there. It's when these two finally start to back off and move off to the east that we'll get the drying wind coming in from the north and west, and that'll put an end to any chances for rain. So heavier rain lifts north through tonight. Still some lingering showers tomorrow morning. I'd say through about lunchtime, the shower chances will go away, but that mist and drizzle opportunity, that's going to stay with us through the afternoon and evening Winds out of the north at a pretty good clip. Now notice our wind direction has turned northwest. This is good. It starts to drag in drier air at the surface, so we'll first shut off the chance for any rain, mist or drizzle, any of that. And then into the afternoon, enough dry air should mix in that we get into some late day sun. So for tonight, again, that rain heavy at times in some spots, lifting north, and then we'll go with lighter showers returning late tonight. Not much change in the temperature. We go with the Holly Kia dog walking forecast for how it's going to be a better walk for the afternoon as some drier air will start to filter in, but the mist and drizzle, I don't think will be too much of a problem to get the walk in. It's just going to be kind of a raw day to do that. 60 on Sunday, 71 Monday. That looks great. Lots of sun to start next week. Chance of a light shower Monday night as a front moves through, kind of delayed with the cool air. So, Anthony, we're looking pretty good for Tuesday, then back to some chillier air come Wednesday.
Tuesday, 70 degrees. Thank you so much, Rich. One former Stephen Decatur pitcher is having success in the minors. Coming up, find out what award he won. You're watching DSI.
University men's and women's swim program, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
Welcome back to Delmarva Sports Insider. Another athlete is having a good year is the former Stephen Decatur ace, Hayden Snellsire. He is the Minor League South Atlantic Pitcher of the Week. Hayden pitched 3 innings. He did not allow a hit and no earned runs. He racked up 4 strikeouts. Hayden is the Tampa Bay's first MILB Pitcher of the Week for the organization. He's pitching for high single A, the Bowling Green Hot Rods. He was selected in the 17th round in 2023 out of Randolph-Macon College. That season, he threw for more. He had 107 strikeouts. If he continues pitching like that, he will be promoted to another level in the minors. They like people that can get strikeouts.
And speaking of the minors, the Delmarva Shorebirds have enjoyed being home after starting the season 0-3, getting swept on the road by the Salem Red Sox. They've now won 3 straight to even their record at 3-3. Due to inclement weather, the contest that was supposed to be today, Friday, April 11th, between the Shorebirds and the Fayetteville Woodpeckers was postponed. It was supposed to be played tonight. It's going to be made up as a doubleheader on Saturday, April 12th. First game starting at 4:35 p.m. This is the second time during this first homestand that Shorebirds have had to postpone a game.
Really comes back to weather and the field. So for the home opener, it was player safety. They could not they did not think it was in the players' best interest to have that home opener. So now the field is ready. The Shorebirds, I think, getting better pitching. But going back to Hayden Snellsire, the former ace, he throws about 90 miles an hour, doing really, really well. And if he continues that, we will be seeing him in the majors perhaps in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I'm sure the Shorebirds would love to have someone slinging like that on their team right now. They gave up some big numbers against the Red Sox, the Salem Red Sox, in those first couple games. But, you know, pitching has done a pretty good job keeping them in games so far. They've won 3 games. They're 500, 3-3. But we have not seen a big output from their offense so far. They haven't scored more than 5 runs in a game.
In the first game against Salem, it was 12-1, but they did call up for the Woodpecker series, Michael Cardone, and he did really well. Coming up, we're going to unveil who's going to be the WMDT Athlete of the Week. You don't want to miss it.
Hi, I'm Coach Powell from Indian River High School Softball, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
All right, so heavy rain lifting north. So rain that we're talking about tomorrow will be much lighter, and the scattered shower scenario will be a little more intermittent. So slow improvements, but still wet and soggy start to tomorrow with these temperatures here. All that water that's fallen today, it's not going anywhere. It's just going to sit. The afternoon looks a little better with some drizzle and mist. That'll be the only problem going into the later part of the day. So marine forecast tomorrow for boating interests. We still have some problems with the wind. A small craft advisory continues. Winds will go from east to eventually north. And I said earlier when I showed you in the forecast, once we get the winds going northwest, that'll start to really bring in the dry air, and that should work on the cloud deck a little bit by the end of the day on Sunday. But overall, Sunday is a dry day, and it's looking a lot better. 58 degrees for a high at the 7-day forecast here for the beaches. Mid-60s on Monday. Next front, thought it was going to be a dry front, but it looks like we could squeeze out a shower Monday night. That doesn't look like it's going to be much, though. Upper 60s Tuesday, And then Chris and Anthony, we're back to some chillier air on Wednesday, although we'll get into plenty of sun Wednesday, Thursday, and milder on Friday.
Rich, I will say I am tired of the rain because it really destroys the sports calendar. The athlete of the week is Abby Marsh. In her 2 games this week, she had 3 singles, a double on the offensive side on the ball. While pitching, though, in 2 appearances, she struck out 11, only allowing 4 hits, 1 walk. Marsh picked up their 6th and 7th win on the mound, 2 wins. She still has not suffered a loss this season.
And we want to hear who you think should win next week's award. Send in your suggestions to our email, sports@wmdt.com.
We certainly want to hear from you. It's now time for the debut of the Sports Community Calendar. It's the 2nd annual Good People Golf Tournament hosted by Juan Johnson. It takes place on Friday, April 18th at Plantation Lakes in Millsboro. The shotgun starts at 10 o'clock with a 4-player step-aside scramble and should be a great event. Also, the Delmarva Shorebirds homestand continues through Sunday. They have 2 games on Saturday, with the first one starting at 4:35 and Sunday's contest at 2:05. Go out there and support the Delmarva Shorebirds.
I'll tell you what, Anthony, I'm looking forward to that golf fundraiser.
I bet you are. That's going to do it for tonight. As always, thank you so much for watching.
And be sure to keep up with us this weekend all over social media.
Have a great night.